release had went live this Monday, and MyToyota store will be going live next Monday. Is that right, Lindley? Or the fall? It's
Yep, I was on mute. Yep.
okay. So today we're going to go over what that means, how it changes the customer experience, and then answer any questions related to what you all are interested in from a dealer's perspective. So from this slide, you'll see that the release has the updates between the registration process, the account settings, location management, model serial capabilities, issue reporting, and product recommendations. So what has changed in our registration process from the previous release? One of the major changes that have occurred that will impact you as dealers is right now you may be used to receiving an email from Gabby or Angie from our customer support team when a customer has registered for MyToyota that requires a CRM record. We have automated those emails so that they go directly to you as the dealers and you don't have to wait for Angie or Gabby on the customer support team to send those to you. You'll still get that same heading. It will say MyToyota, and we're using the dealer directory, and it will be going to the sales coordinator. The sales coordinator is supposed to have the access to create CRM records. So you may have already started seeing this change since it went live on Monday. From a customer experience standpoint, some of the changes that we have made I'll show you in the next few screens. So the customer will still be putting in their email verification or their email address to get that verification code and putting in their user details. Step 2 of the registration process. One of the changes that we have made is currently when the customer presses verify information button, we make a call to our system to make sure that it is a valid mailing address. We now will be displaying a pop-up, and that pop-up will allow the user the capability of going with the suggested address or going with the address as they've entered. The reason why we made this change is we were seeing a large number of customers reaching out to us that were putting in the address that matched their record, and it was a valid address, but our system was trying to have them change it, which was getting them a registration failure because they needed the address which they were entering. So we are now allowing the customer to go with the suggested address or proceed with the entered address. For the next step of the registration process, the terms and conditions still will be the same. The account type will still be the same, where the customer needs to select either the individual account or the business account option, and the submit registration button will still work the same, except the difference there is the registration or to fail and require that CRM record. We now will have a pop-up that will prompt the customer, do you want to submit this registration? And if they press yes, then you will receive that email to that sales coordinator position. Oh, sorry, it's on the next screen. Sorry, Refty, I went too fast. So they'll receive this message that says, oh no, we were unable to locate your information. And when they press submit, it will email the dealer if it's a dealer customer. If we see that it's a national account customer or fleet customer, that will still maintain going to our customer support team. And then they'll land on this page. And the reason why we had made this change was we were seeing a large number of duplicate registration requests due to the fact that we were displaying a toast message that kept them on the last page of the registration process, and the toast message would leave after 10 seconds, which if the customer wasn't paying attention, then they would press the submit button again, and we were getting multiple registration requests for the same users. Now the user will only be allowed to submit the registration once. Do we have any questions about this and any of the changes? Someone said that the audio is cutting in and out. Is anyone else having that issue?
Every once in a while I hear it, Katina.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So did anybody understand anything I said?
Yeah, I picked up most of it on my
Okay.
side. Yeah. And then
All right.
there was it Amanda that had her hand up?
Yeah, Amanda?
Yeah, hi. I just had a question with regards to the account creation for the CRM. You said that an alert now goes out automatically to the sales coordinator.
Correct.
So we have a team of sales coordinators at Lifto. So how do you determine which sales coordinator that is going to?
It will go to the primary sales coordinator in the Active Directory.
And is that by branch or is that by dealership or?
It is by branch.
Okay. Thank you. That was it. Thank you. And your audio is cutting in and out a little bit, but we could tell what you were saying.
Okay, yep. Good. Thank you. Do we have any? Oh, and yep, the recording will be sent out. Are there any additional questions in regards to the registration process and the changes? All right. So another update that we have done for the account settings was based off of a lot of user feedback and internal feedback that we were getting from the major account managers. One of the exciting things that we have just released on Monday was domain management, where we can now link your domain. The admins can link their domain to their business account. And the purpose of this is that it will streamline the registration process, as when that domain, which is claimed, like toyotatmh.com in this example, it will match the user requesting access to the business account that claimed the domain, and it will also put into consideration the address which the user is registering with. Additionally, we have added the capability for the admin to set up auto approval. So if they claim a domain such as toyotatmh.com, and for those on the call who may not know what a domain is, it's the portion of your email address after the @ sign. Once they have the capability of setting the domain for auto approval, so then the admin is allowing all users who request access to their business account to automatically be approved without the admin having to log in and accept the registration for the users registering after them. So we'll walk through that process and what it looks like from the customer's perspective. So where the domain management will now lives is if you are a business account and you are an admin, you would click on your name to go to the account settings. And there will now be a new tab that says domain management. When you press the add domain button, add new domain, it will take you to a new screen where you can put in the domain which you'd like to claim. When you put that in there, you'll be asked if you want to set this up for auto approval. You can select yes, or you can maintain it off. And then it will ask for you to assign the locations which you would like to claim this domain. This way, if you have a large customer who has multiple domains specific to the sister companies which they're managing, let's use Toyota for example. If I was Tico and I had Toyota and Raymond, I could set up the Toyota domain specific to the Toyota locations and the Raymond domain specific to the Raymond locations. And then lastly, once they have put that in, they'll see the domains in their domain management, and they can make it active or inactive if they choose to do it. They can see the number of locations assigned for it, and if they've set up that domain for auto approval or not. Any questions around domain management? All right. I just want to emphasize that from a customer perspective that they do have to be a business account and that this is only available for admins. We'll move on to the next item. Another feedback that we had received is that from our previous release 2403, we had commonized the business accounts with MyToyota, and we had moved a lot of the functionality that was previously in MyToyota store into MyToyota. And one of those functionalities was your location management for your company locations. And during the last release, we received a high number of feedback from previous MyToyota store customers who were very confused on how to add shipping locations versus company locations and what that flow was now that they were migrated into MyToyota. So Lindley, myself, and Rafty sat down and we really thought about the customer experience on this to come up with a design that we felt would address a lot of the customer feedback that we were receiving. And I'll walk through what those changes are. So one of the feedback that we received is that previously in the MyToyota store, location management was its own section, as opposed to in MyToyota, it was nestled into the account settings. We've made that changed on Monday and released on Monday, and now location management is its own area in the dropdown. Additional feedback that we received is that it wasn't clear that to the user that the list that they were seeing was just company locations that pertain to the data associated with their organization. And the customers have a need to have both shipping only locations and company locations. So we made it more clear to the user by adding some text here that says that the list below shows only the company locations. If you have a ship to only address needed for online ordering in the MyToyota store, but is not related to your company locations, please add them to the delivery addresses in MyToyota store, and we would link back to the store so that they can go through what we will show you in a little bit, which is the shipping only location flow. Additionally, we received feedback from the migrated customers that they had location label in the MyToyota store. This was highly utilized by the previous or the migrated customers because they were not a big fan of displaying city and state, mainly because a lot of the major accounts or bigger customers would have several locations in the same city. So we've added location label into MyToyota, and we've migrated the previous ones that were in the MyToyota store, and we'll be doing the exact same thing at MyToyota, where the city and state will be the default of the location label, but the customer can press edit and change what that value is in the location label, so that they can call it plant 1 or plant 2 or store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will display accordingly. When they press edit location label, they'll be brought to this screen where they'll be able to update it. But I do want to caution that currently we are only able to develop the capability of location label on the location management screen. And we're in the process of this release of updating the label across all of the tables within MyToyota. So my fleet, my quotes, my orders, my service, my insights, all of those pages where we show location as city and state will remain that way until the next release, to when we can make this change across the entire product. Any questions around location labels? All right. So now I'm going to hand it off to Lindley so that she can go over what that whole experience is going to look like now that we've tried to make it clear on MyToyota that the location management there is just for company locations.
Hey, everybody. So I'll go over kind of what it looks like on the shop side of things for the 2406 release. First enhancement I like to cover is the consolidated view of the company and shipping address tabs. So now we have one area that contains both. It is entitled delivery addresses versus two separate tabs like we previously had. So here you can see an addition of a little warehouse icon. I don't know if there's a better view in the next screenshot or not, RevT, but of that warehouse icon to indicate what addresses are the MyToyota locations. And then there's also a separate column for location labels to allow for easier identification and personalization. Somebody is not on mute and it's pretty loud. If there's somebody that can please mute themselves. Thank you. So like I was saying, there's a separate column for the location labels to allow for easier identification and personalization. And then the MyToyota location labels with the house can be edited in shop. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. And then whereas the shipping location labels with no icon next to it can only be edited here in shop. So another new feature to note here as well is the addition of the add new addresses button. So from this view, you can add a new shipping address as well, and then also assign or link other users to the new address so they can see it in their list of delivery addresses here too. And I think we have a view of that, right, RevT? Is she in the next slide? Okay, yep. So here's showing where you can add the new address and then link the users that you'd like to see the addresses as well in their delivery address list. Okay, next slide. All right, was there any questions back on the updated delivery address page to review? Are we okay with that? The next feature that I'll go over then is the model serial capabilities. So a couple new updates here surrounding enhancements with the model serial functionality, a new model serial specific report, and the ability to filter by your past orders by model and serial as well. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so starting with the new report, within the reporting tab, we can select from the drop down to show the new model serial report. Once that report is selected, we can then enter the model serial number that we'd like to generate a report for, or you can leave that field blank to pull all of the model serials in the report. And then of course, select a date range to generate the report. And then the reports are then saved down below in the table for quick reference in the future as needed and for re-downloading or sharing via email as well. Then the second update surrounding model serial capabilities I'll go over is just an additional filter. So you can filter by through your past orders by model serial. And then upon viewing the order within the filter tab, you can drop that caret down, and then there'll be an option there where you can select as many model serials as you need to do additional filtering. And then once that's selected, if you want to remove it from your filter, there are little pills at the top of the table that you can exit out and take that out of your filter settings there. And one more item I just wanted to show here is that if you select in the table, you can select your model serial. It's a link that will create a pop-up to show the entire list of the model serials that are included on your previous orders. So that's just kind of like a quick screenshot of that. Okay. Any questions surrounding the model serial update capabilities?
There was a question that said the site is only available in English, correct? I can take that one. So MyToyota is only available in English right now, but for MyToyota store, it's available in both English and French.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next feature is going to be issue reporting. So a couple issue reporting items. You can report issues by equipment order that have already been placed, and this is a direct way for a customer to reach out on an order that's already been placed on a piece of equipment. And then the second way would just be through product issues. So this is a great way to get in touch with our customer service team if there's something that is being shown on shop that seems inaccurate in some type of way. So we can take a look first at the equipment order issue reporting. So this is a good way for the customer, again, to directly reach out if there's an issue with a piece of equipment that they have already ordered. So this is going to be within the order details tab. And then there's a link there, issue with an item down towards the bottom with the picture. So upon selecting that link, the user can then choose the item on the order that they're having an issue with, and then provide some more details on the issue that they're facing. And then this submission then gets sent with all of these order details in the email for follow-up. So I think the next slide shows examples of what that email would look like. Again, just listing order details and then what the customer is saying is wrong and what they may need to be contacted about. And then another thing to note here is that when only the customer can go in and close and mark the issue as solved when they feel as though their issue has been completed and resolved accordingly. We can move on. The next item on here is product issues. So this would be a way, the ability to report an issue with a product that we just have listed on shop. And this is essentially to stay compliant with the Inform Act. And I think the simplest way to explain the Inform Act would be that it ensures online marketplaces verify sellers' products to prevent the sale of stolen, counterfeit, and harmful products online. So as you can see, we've added a link that opens into an area for the user to then report the issue and any relevant details surrounding that. And then that submission then gets sent to our customer service team in order to check on the accuracy of those items. Next slide, we'll go over another fun feature that we have implemented in 2406. This is product recommendations. So this is the last feature I'm going to cover. It's a project we've been working on. I'm sure you've seen it at other places online, but it's a great way to suggest products similar to what you may have seen on Amazon, perhaps. And for this initial launch of it, we are focusing on the homepage, product details page, and then within the shopping cart, you'll see this. And I think the most important thing to note here is that this feature is an algorithm. So it'll need some time to learn after go live, and it's not connected to EPC, so electronic parts catalog. So we still need to be making sure that compatibility checks are being done. But let's take a look at a couple of examples here. You can see the recently viewed product section is seen directly on the homepage for logged in users. And the next slide to the right there is where you can see an example of a commonly purchased Toyota genuine parts on the home screen as well. And then on the next slide, you'll see bestsellers within the product details section. So this is after you click on this specific product. You'll see another area down below there. They kind of look like Florida. Was that Katina that you said that these all look like Florida in our in our test environment here?
Yeah, I can't unsee it now. Every
You're
time
right.
I see this page, it's Florida.
Yeah. And then the final example we're showing on the right is the frequently ordered or recommendations based on your past order history. And again, not tied to electronic parts catalog, and it's just an algorithm that'll take some time, but we'll still need to be doing those model serial checks for compatibility. Okay. And I think that is, yeah, so that concludes my section of this. We wanted to provide a release summary here and just give an opportunity for some questions that anybody may have. But this was just an overview of what we went over today. Anybody has any questions for us? There is a link on the left-hand side for MyToyota for the more detailed release notes. And then when store is launched for 2406, we'll have a link for those as well.
Does anyone have any specific questions in regards to this release 2406? Does anyone have any questions in regards to any thing related to MyToyota or MyToyota store that they would like to ask? All right. Well, you guys are awfully quiet. I think it means everyone had fun for 4th of July. And that means because you guys are off, you probably are very busy.
Yeah.
Yes, we will copy this presentation. If you are not already utilizing it, the Dealer Help Center is a new tool that we have created. In the Dealer Help Center, we do have links to all of our release notes that we give when we go live, and those also face the customer. So it says what's new, what are the open bugs, what are the things that we improved as well. And then from the Dealer Help Center portion, we have we have links to all of the videos from all of our previous releases and we'll continue to store them there as we do each one of these trainings for future releases as well. I see the question, is there a link that we can send to the customer showing them how to register and use the site? We did in our last release 2403, we did release the help center for customers, and in that help center we do have a how to register section, as well as what's the difference between a business account versus individual account. We do not currently have a customer facing videos for that, but we are excited to say that we were just given a tool to where we can start trying to create customer facing videos, and we'll see how great we are at it. And once we do create those customer facing videos, we'll stick those in the help center as well, so the customer has access to them. So I would just encourage anyone at the dealer who's interested in updates or the training materials that we're creating to check both the Dealer Help Center and the Customer Help Center, as we are working in all of our spare time on putting more and more instructions in there. As we receive questions from the customers, we do make it part of our process to document it and then put it in the Customer Help Center to hopefully help future customers. We are releasing to an early adopter release group right now. What does that mean? Amanda, can I
doing
ask?
the same thing. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I was just responding to Justine.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
at Lifto, instead of sending it off en masse to all of our customers right now, we've selected some specific customers to do like an early adopter release.
Oh,
to make sure that their experience is good and we learn from their first experience as well as customers to answer their questions before we generally release it to everybody.
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to it really, really fast. I thought that this would be something that would be cool to share with you guys, but I want to make sure that I can get to it. I don't know if I've ever given anyone at the dealer some updates on how MyToyota has been going since we went live in January, and I just shared some internal feedback on how things are going. MyToyota is connected to Adobe Analytics, so we are able to really see what the customer experiences are and track what is being utilized and what isn't being utilized. So in the last 13 weeks, we've had 3,399 visits to the My Fleet page for the fleet management. And we have had 1,738 clicks into equipment details to utilize things like My Insights, Finance, and My Service. We've had 1,371 orders viewed on the My Orders page by the customer, so they're definitely checking what the new equipment order is and how what the status is of their order. We've had 102 pieces of equipment updated in the UIO by the customer adding, moving, or removing a piece of equipment. And we've had sent the customer over to eCom 201 times from MyToyota. And we have had the customers download their manuals to their equipment 717 times. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what our customers are enjoying about MyToyota, where we see the most value from the customer right now. And just wanted to share that because I thought that was kind of interesting stats.
And what was the time frame on that you said?
It's been the last 13 weeks.
13 weeks. Okay.
Yep.
I'm excited to get that data on the shop side too. Soon.
And then a lot of the enhancements that we did around the registration is to see an improvement in the success rate of the registration flow. We're currently tracking about 40% on successful registrations, and we are continuing to monitor why we're losing 60% of customers in the registration flow, and then reviewing those areas. And that is why you've seen so many enhancements in the registration the last few releases. All right. Well, I will give everybody some of their time back, and I really appreciate everyone who takes the time to come to these things. I will press stop record now so that I get the recording, and then we will have that sent out as well as the links to the Dealer Help Center and the Customer Help Center shortly. You should be receiving an email. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katina.
Thank you.
Lily, one other thing I wanted to just point out that right after this, we'll be sending out a survey just to get your information on what you think about MyToyota Store, pain points that you have, or what you'd like to see, just to get your input and voice in there. So if you have anything that you might be getting a lot of questions on, feel free to add it there, and then we can add that in our roadmaps too.
Yeah. Good, bad, and ugly, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.